Hey, are you waking up in the middle of the night or at the crack of dawn when it's still dark outside and everyone else is asleep? Are you feeling like there's something burning within you that needs to be shared? Is there a story that only you can tell? Have you healed from something and you know it's time to pay it forward? If any of these statements describe you, you are likely the one that is ready to embark on the journey of becoming a book writer. But first, are you mission ready? Are you prepared to meet your calling? Are you ready to become an author entrepreneur? Here's the deal. While you know this is what you are supposed to be doing, this mission to fulfill this burning desire to write a book, there are some essential steps to be ready for this process and learning what the business of writing books is all about. First, we believe that everyone has at least one book in them because everyone has a pretty phenomenal human story to share. But is it enough to have a story and a message to share? No, it's not enough. So after listening to this, you still want to write a book? Yes, of course you do. Here's what you have to know about this process. Are you ready? Deborah Evans and myself have identified 5 pillars of success to being mission ready for this transformational process of book writing. We will share these with you in a few moments, and you will transform. Let us begin by sharing a bit about ourselves with you. So, first of all, we're going to introduce ourselves. Who are the Book Doulas? Well, hello, I'm Chris. I'm most known for my contribution as the co-author of the New York Times global best-selling series, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Having sold tens of millions of books, I've authored 6 books and run an international retreat business, bringing 100 women per year to my retreats all over the world. My latest book, From Heartbreak to Wholeness, The Hero's Journey to Joy, was the culmination of 10 years of writing and speaking. 10 years. It's a long time. I worked on this book joyfully with the extraordinary woman who I will introduce to you now, Deborah Evans. She is truly a book doula. She has helped birth many books and worked with some of the top professionals and names in the personal growth industry. Please meet my favorite mindful editor, Deborah Evans.
Thank you, Chris. I'm so excited to be here with you and with all of you out there watching. And like Chris said, I want to thank you for being with us today. I realized in preparing for our webinar today that I've been in the book business in one way or another for 30 years. It started with being a book seller, a retailer, and a book buyer. And I became the conference director for the national conference called Whole Life Expo, where I got to work with a lot of my heroes in the book world. I did that for about 7 years, and it was all kind of in a way just paving the road for what I'm doing now, which is for the past 12 years. I've been working with people to, as Chris said, to give birth to their books as an editor, writing partner, ghostwriter at times, things like that. And I worked for several years with Debbie Ford, the late and wonderful, beautiful Debbie Ford, who was the creator of The Shadow Process and the author of the New York Times bestseller, Dark Side of the Light Chasers, and several other books. So I got to work with Debbie very closely on some of her books. I've worked with many wonderful authors over the years, but the big turning point for me was working with Chris Carlson, and when she started to work on her book, her last book, From Heartbreak to Wholeness. It was such a revelatory experience that we decided to begin working together to help people to bring their books into the world.
Oh, that's great, Deborah. And yes, it was an amazing experience working with you too. I absolutely loved it. It was my most favorite time I've ever spent with an editor. And we did have such a transformational experience, which is why we decided to do this program and bring you bookdoulas.com. So that's enough about us, but this is really all about you. We know that you've come to this webinar to answer a very specific call on your life. But we came together to bring you this program because we know you have a burning desire. That answering that call is absolutely just burning in your gut. You want to do it so bad. So we're so happy that you're watching this. And we're also, we know that writing a book and publishing, promoting, and selling a book is a multi-step process, and it's a journey. It's all a journey. And our program is an essential step in that trajectory of success. So, first of all, we want to acknowledge who this program is for. Deborah, do you want to talk a little bit about who the program is for?
Yes, well, it is for what we're really calling author entrepreneurs. And, that includes a lot of kinds of people. I mean, really, it includes coaches and consultants and healthcare practitioners, doctors, healers, podcasters, bloggers, workshop and retreat facilitators, public speakers, transformational leaders, writers, of course, and really anyone who has a very strong message that, as Chris said, that you feel called to share it with the world.
Absolutely. In short, this program is really for those who want to truly understand the business of book writing. And again, I'm just going to repeat that this is an essential step towards success to really understand this business of writing books. In short, this program is for those who want to clarify their message, expand their platform, and start your book. That's right. Clarify your message, expand your platform, and start your book. Now, how this program will help you reach your dream, we have determined that there are 5 pillars to your success. So, Deborah and I have both been a part of the transformational community and the publishing industry for more than 25 years. That's 50 years combined. And we're only 56 years old. But I want to share with you, before we move on, the story of the Don't Sweat the Small Stuff success. So it is a story that is a phenomenal publishing industry story. And I want to first begin to say that it was not an overnight success. It was a 10-year journey toward writing Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. So it wasn't Richard's first book that was his big-time New York Times bestseller. It wasn't his second book, and it wasn't his third. Guess what? It was his 10th book that finally went global on a phenomenal level. Now, that book to this date has sold tens of millions of copies. And what does that mean to your audience and your platform? So if a book is sold once, it's generally, if it's a really good book, it's probably read about 4 times on average. And that means over the course of that book's lifetime. That book, we hear all the time, or I hear all the time, that these books are in garage sales. They're all over the place. Why? Because there's 30 million copies in print now of all of our books. So you say 30 million copies in print, and each book is read on average 4 times by 4 different people. That is 120 million people that know the books Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Now, that is a phenomenal publishing industry story. There's only a couple others in the industry that might have that tied or beat. And of course, that's the Harry Potter series, and that's Chicken Soup for the Soul. We were among the early group of what would be called branded authors. So before an author, the way the publishing industry worked, an author would just come out with, the business model was write a book that you feel inspired to write, see if you can sell it, and then sell that book, then write another book. But then when our books and the Chicken Soup for the Soul books came out, we were the first book series that really branded a book series, whereas it wasn't even really that branded to the author. So Richard's books, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, were well known, far ahead of his name even, because the title was seriously so rocking that it just grabbed people. It literally took the book from the lower shelf of the book cases in Barnes and Noble and put it on the top shelf, because people would just grab it. It was a time period in history where technology was rising and people were overwhelmed by change. So Don't Sweat the Small Stuff really took off globally, and I mean globally. It's in something like 46 languages and 130 countries. It's just wild. And to this day, I'm still signing renewal contracts, new contracts, new countries, new languages. It is a flagship book, a tried and true source of wisdom that just continues to go on. So that's our story. When Deborah and I decided to do this program last year, we realized more than ever that with total clarity that was missing in the industry, an industry that sometimes really preys on the deep desire you have to write a book and to leave your legacy. What was missing in the industry is really this notion of all about what it means to write a book and sell a book and create that platform of writing, of what it means to create that platform so that you have a place to distribute that book. So many in the industry don't tell you is that spending money and following a formula doesn't guarantee results or success. That just simply isn't enough. Our 12-week course lays it all out. We will go in depth with you into the 5 pillars of success, the must-haves. These 5 pillars are, the first one is desire. You must have a deep calling, a burning desire to write this book. You must have a message that you absolutely want to share. The second pillar is talent. Yes, it does take a modicum of talent. Now, you don't have to be a perfect writer, but you have to be a decent writer to write a book, or you have to be a great speaker. If you can articulate verbally better than you can write, there are ways to extract that articulation into words that can be put into a book. But you've got to be a very proficient speaker or a pretty talented writer. The third pillar is drive. Okay, so drive is all about your work ethic, and it's also about how you structure your time. So, which is the fourth pillar, time. So drive is about work ethic. The fourth pillar is time. You must carve out the time to work on this book. Now, a lot of people can write a book in an hour a day, 1,000 words a day. Or, having your time periods, if you're super productive and you're super in flow, which is for all the things we're going to talk about in this course and teach you in this course about how to set your life up for success for writing this book. The time management piece is really important because it takes consistency, consistent effort over time to manifest this message into a book form. And the fifth thing the fifth pillar of success that we're going to talk about is platform. You must have a platform. Now, platform is something that can be described in many, many ways, and that we will be laying out all the different ways and how you build your platform in this course. So you can have a powerful transformation with each one of these 5 aspects: desire, talent, drive, time, and platform. And these are the keys to your personal and professional success. Speaking of platform, we've recently supported several people through the writing and editing process, as well as connecting a few select authors with agents and publishers. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Diana's story. So Diana was a personal friend of mine. She came to me about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, and said she wanted me to help her figure out how to, write her book, how to put her book together, and what she needed to do that. So I sat down with her on an intensive 2 days, and we went over really what you're going to receive in this course. We went over a lot of the business aspects of what it was going to mean to her life to become an author. And then I connected her with Deborah. And Deborah did such a beautiful job working with Diana over the last couple of years, just really writing a couple of different books. And the beautiful thing is that we connected her with an agent that signed her, a really, really top agent. And he loved her story. And then what's really cool about Diana's story is that she didn't have much of a platform. She had a little bit of a platform. But you know what? Diana did what she needed to do in order to build a platform. And we're going to bring Diana as one of our guest speakers. And she's going to tell you what she did in this course and how she did it. And, she invested some money and time, and she followed a formula. And we're going to share with you what that formula is. And she built her platform really fast. She has a larger Facebook platform than I do. She has a 1.2 million followers on her Facebook page, and she did not buy a single one of those followers. And we're going to have Diana share with you how she did that in this course. So I'm going to turn it over to Deb now, and she's going to tell you another story about one of our authors that we've worked with.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I wanted to share a quick story about Lee Harris. Lee is an incredible human being. He's from England. He lives here in the U.S., and he has a book that came out this year. It's called Energy Speaks, and it came out with New World Library, who also published Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now and many other classic books in this transformational field. And we wanted to share Lee's story because differently than Diana, Lee had been already building a platform over the course of more than 10 years. He's a young guy, but he started early, and he really nurtured his platform. He nurtured his Facebook following. He nurtured his YouTube following. He was very consistent. He took consistent action over time, really putting a lot of quality material out there in terms of videos, audio programs. And it really paid off for him. And I use that term loosely because he's very sincere in what he does. He's an energy intuitive. He does workshops around the world. And, the thing is that his hard work, his dedication, his devotion to his message really paid off for him in terms of getting a book deal, getting a top literary agent, getting a publishing contract, and putting out a beautiful book. And the thing that we wanted to share with you is that we were speaking to Mark Allen, the CEO of New World Library, recently, and his name, Mark, said that Lee's book is one of the most successful books that they've published in years. I had the honor of editing that book with him, and so it was really exciting news to hear that all the way around for New World Library, for Lee, and for all the people out there reading the book. So that's another platform story.
So we don't want you to feel overwhelmed by this, because that's why we've created this course, is to keep you from overwhelmed so that you understand the steps that you can be taking even while you're working on your book. It is a step-by-step process, and you're going to have help. You're going to have us helping you along the way. I want to share one last story about two ladies that were in our Book Doulas program last year. Both had extraordinary talents. They were gifted individuals as writers and teachers. But what we found, even though they created beautiful books, is that the fifth missing pillar to their success was platform. Now we're going to share with you again, I'm going to reiterate all the different ways that you build your platform. So don't be intimidated by that word at all. This is just a very cautionary tale, but one that will have a happy ending for you. Now let's talk about how this program will transform you. You're going to gain a clear vision for your career. You're going to fulfill your purpose. You can Dream big, and this is going to help you become the unstoppable you. We're here to help you fulfill your calling and pay it forward by sharing what only you can share. But first, join us for the next 3 months. We've prepared an amazing online curriculum where you have us live every week along with other guest speakers who will inspire you and teach you all you need to know to become a best-selling author, and you will be ready to birth your book into the world. How exciting is that? So we are offering now the Book Doulas Incubator Program with a start date of October 23rd, 2019, ending January 22nd, 2020. For all program details, visit our website, www.bookdoulas.com. And be sure to note that we have a very special platinum program that includes a 4-day writing retreat with Deborah and myself in Mount Shasta, California. Beautiful retreat planned. So if that is something that lights you up, be sure to join us in our platinum program. Thank you so much from the Book Doulas, Christine Carlson and Deborah Evans.